Gibbs have kindly sent me another BAYANGTOYS X16, and this one has got the GPS on it. It's got GPS written on the module on the top here, but there's actually nothing in the module, it's just a fake one. I assume the GPS is tucked in there somewhere or other. I haven't taken it apart because I haven't broken it yet, so I use the term yet. Exactly the same it looks as the other one, and I know these have been reviewed a lot and there's loads of stuff out there on them. I just thought I'd put my slant on it, to be honest. I really liked my original X16, and I'll put links down in description to the all the videos I did with it. I did everything with it. I put a gimbal on it, I put a 4K camera capability on it, I did everything with it and did flips with it, absolutely drove it mad. And then my friend decided to use it for something that I hadn't thought it would be useful for, actually, and that was as a plough. It went into a farmer's field and really did bury it in. There wasn't a lot sticking out and there was nothing left to recover, to be honest. So when they said I could get another one, excellent. So we got the GPS version here. So I'm going to see how it goes and everything, run through everything, but it's more or less the same as what we did on the other X16. So the stuff I haven't covered here, I'm sure will be covered in the other one. Exactly the same setup as I said before. And what I'm going to do is hopefully fly with a little bit of FPV, so I brought me a pair of goggles with me anyway. Just going to use the Firefly Q6 and just put this is off another quad, this is an old just cage really, with a little bit of anti-dampening vibration in it to get rid of a little bit of the jello, but I'm really not that bothered. The other thing I've changed is I've taken off the stock props because I found this on my other X16. I preferred the sort of, these are DJI clone ones. These are 9450 props, and I found they gave the best efficiency for me anyway. So, but everyone wants different things, so you can put virtually anything on them. They're an M6 thread, so nice and easy to spin on there. You might have noticed the FPV setup's a little bit Tiggerized, so there's elastic bands all around it, because next time I fly this, the legs will be off it, the cage will be off it, everything will be off it, and I'll be just hounding it around, I expect. So that's the way I like to do it. Another thing with elastic bands is if it takes an impact, everything will move, it will let go. Yes, you could wind up with bits scattered everywhere, but the huge benefit there is most stuff doesn't get damaged, so it doesn't stop suddenly. It's got a little bit of give in it, almost like sort of airbag. Yeah, these are airborne airbags, that's what I tend to call them. I do now. Right, so we got the banana plug off the actual battery itself. Is exactly the same battery as we had on the other one. There's quite a load of room in here as well that is slightly tight to get in, and this one's 220 milliamp hour and it's 3-cell as well. I'm actually going to run the FPV system, which I've got running down here, and plugged into the Q6 is going to be through here. So the main battery off the quad is actually going to run the FPV and also going to charge and keep the Q6 fully charged as well. So it's a nice little system, and I'm going to run it off the balanced charger port here, which I do quite often. Just made up a little cable here that goes from the balanced charger port and goes into a JST connector there, which powers all this up. All this cabling for the Q6 actually comes with the Q6, and I'll put links to everything down in the description. We're going to make sure the switch is off here, so you've got an on-off switch as well as actually just plugging the battery in, so it doesn't go live straight away, which I quite like actually. And this is not solid, I must admit. I'm not after great footage. If I wanted great footage, I'd have brought a gimbal and I'd have brought another camera, so this is just purely just to have a little play with it. So we're going to plug that in. Make sure that's off, as I say. Yep, and we got that beep, and that beep means that you've got a battery installed and you've connected it up, but you haven't done anything about it basically. So there's no LEDs coming on or anything. It's just warning me that the battery is in place and we're ready to go. And this here just fits in through there like a treat. It's I think BAYANGTOYS must have designed it just for people like this. And then simply plug in the one into the back of the Q6. And then to power it up, we just simply plug that in there. Actually, I don't need to do this all straight away because I'm not going to fly FPVs first of all. I'm going to see how I get on with it, because I really want to see how we get on. And we're a little different location here, so we're at the sort of the damp end of the garden now. So we've got a little sort of pond feature going on here. So let's hope this GPS works and gets it back here. Now about the GPS, I actually set up the GPS. My house is over there by quite a few miles actually, so I set up the GPS over there, so you do all this dance of twiddling and everything, and I'll run through that. I'll show you that a little bit later on, what we actually did. And I'm going to see what happens, because I'm not going to recalibrate it here. It was calibrated for over there. I'm just going to see whether the return to home comes back here. I'm pretty sure it will, but everyone else seems to calibrate it every time they go flying. Real pain. And also, if you do that, if you haven't got a brilliant signal and you haven't done it quite right, you could wind up with all sorts of problems. So my Typhoon H, which is in here, which is actually going to be my landing pad today and takeoff pad, that I calibrate it once I do the firmware. I calibrate it in a good open space, and I never calibrate it again. And I travel, you know, hundreds of miles flying around and fly it, never have a problem. Always comes back to me. So I'm sure this is going to be the same. You don't need to calibrate this every time. I'm absolutely sure about that. Okay, so loads of blether in there, so let's get on with actually flying. So pop the actual quad on first of all, and now we've got flashing LEDs. Got to pop it down on here, turn on the transmitter, nice big beep off there, and the LEDs now go down to a slow, well, slowish pulse, a little bit slower than they were, up and down, and then we're basically ready to rock and roll. So I can pull those down and out, and that will start the motors. But we haven't picked up a GPS signal yet, because we've still got the flashing LEDs going on. So I'm just going to stop that for a second, because we will be flying without GPS on. Now I quite like flying without GPS on, and a lot of quads don't come with GPS. Oh, there we go, we picked up a signal straight away, so I'll just have a look. Oh yeah, there's quite a few satellites up there, so it's picked it up quite quickly. Nice. So I'm going to try it with the GPS on, and then we can turn it off using this button here, and then we can fly it without. That will alter the flying characteristics of it, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there we go. Because I've touched it or moved around, it looks like it's re-hunting the GPS again, so oops, shouldn't have touched it. It's obviously very tetchy. There we go. So any about a movement will then, it sort of goes off and starts hunting for GPSs again. I don't know why, because when it's in the air it moves around and it would still hold it. So, and then return to home is this one here. I would just be interested to see whether it comes back here. So let's just loads of different ways of starting this thing. Basically I'm just going to pull these down and out like I'm so used to, and like I say, this is with GPS on. Oh, we'll tell you what we'll do, let's just start that camera first of all, shall we? So that is all there and running, and just there we go. Yeah, and we've got flashing LEDs on that as well. We've got flash. Oh, now we're back to flashing LEDs on the blinking quad. So, God, that's a pain, isn't it? I never have this issue with other GPS quads, I don't think, when you move them. I don't remember them sort of rebinding to a GPS. There we go, we're away again. So I'm going to get this one started. There we go. So it's got altitude hold and GPS, so that's holding pretty well, isn't it? Tiny bit of movement, but really not much at all. I get starting low rates. Cool, the punch out's quite strong for altitude hold. That's quite good. So try and get the transmitter in as well for you. I suppose the first thing I should really try is a return to home sort of thing, rather than play around over water. I've been not criticised, but people have sort of said you do play over water a lot. I like water. If I can't fly where I want to fly, what's the point in flying? That flies quite nicely. Whoa! That wasn't me, I was nice on the sticks there. Whee! Yeah. Well, that's a sort of... It's nice if you're slow with the controls. Whoa! If you're fast with the control, well, let me show you that. That's a bit different. So I've got to make sure I've got enough room here. Let's just bring that in a wee bit closer. Yeah, it sort of lollops around a bit. I'm sure that's the GPS doing that. So if you watch this, I'm going to give it just full pitch forward and then let go. Whoa! That is quite drastic. Drastic sort of pull back on the GPS. Not had one do that before. So here we go, full, and then let go. You can see how much delay you sort of get, and then it sort of brings it back to the point where you let go of the stick. So whoa, and let go. Whee! Yeah, it's different. It's you know, they're all different, these quads, aren't they? But nice. I'm thinking this could be quite a nice camera bird, especially with GPS on it. This would be better flying like this when you actually got the goggles on, but never mind. Okay, so that's in low rates. We're going to nail it back. Oh, it does lollop about on the GPS. I'm just going to bat this around just for 2 seconds. Whee! I'm going to try and keep it away from the trees, I think, because I'm not overly confident with the way that GPS is, so positions it. But we've not got toilet bowling happening. Toilet bowling is when it starts to circle around. If you set the magnets on the compass badly, you'll get toilet bowling. So that's why I worry about people calibrating it every single time they go out. Anyway, let's move it up into second rates. So you get a beep beep. Oh yeah, it certainly gives it more pitch, that's for sure. That video is going to look great, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely, whoa. Just checking I've got head height there. Yeah, so it's a lot. We've certainly got more pitch in. So there we go, that's high rates, back into low rates. Whoa. Yeah, low rates is going to be beautiful for filming, really nice. Yeah, that's really good, I would say. Yeah, that tilting back and everything on the GPS is quite interesting. Just wondering whether I ought to try it. I could always turn off the return to home, I suppose. I was just thinking whether I'd be better over land. I'm sure it's not going to drop in the water. What's the worst that could happen? I get a walk and a swim, I suppose. So return to home is this button here, and it should go up and come back. Hopefully not go home. So pressed it there. I got a nice beep, beep, beep off the actual transmitter there. And we'll see how close it comes to where it took off. Well, not bad. Now, people sort of test these, which is great. I mean, everyone's different with these sort of things. And to sort of say, you know, oh, it needs to come back and it's not landed on the pad, or some people get it to land on the pad. You just press the button again and it stops. I'm not worried about that. Yeah, it'd be great if it did land on there, but when I use return to home, it's because I've lost sight of it. I just want it to come back into my sky so I can see it to get it back under control. That's all I'm after. I'm not after any. I don't need to actually land back on here, but that's fine if it's. So I'll just try that again. I'll just go press that again, and it'll probably come back to this point. This is the point it's thinking is home, I think. Wait, guess I move on. Gee whiz, that comes back fast. Yeah, it's exactly the same place-ish, I would say. Yeah, no, it's pretty much over that bush again, isn't it? I wonder if I can cancel it with that. Nope. So you have to press the button again to cancel it. There we go. There we go. Yeah, you press the button and it cancels it again. Right, okay, so we've got this sort of lolloping GPS. Nothing wrong with it, it's just the way it does it. And if you keep it smooth and fly it smooth, don't bat it around, it's absolutely fine. It's not hunting. I've had some GPS quads that actually hunt around, so they lurch as they come around. This one's staying nice and smooth. That is lovely and smooth, actually. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But when you let go of the stick, it sort of levels itself out gently. But when you give it full stick and then let go, whoa, it really does sort of rock around. But it's stopping at the point I let go, so perhaps it's just the way it works. I'm going to turn off the GPS this time, so I've got no wind to do it. There we go, so might be a little bit of drift on it. I haven't trimmed it up or anything, I haven't played around with it. Now that is really smooth, you see, that's the difference of no GPS. GPS was equally as smooth like this. If I then let go, yeah, you get a nice drift with it. I quite like that. But then that's not working on a GPS system, is it? So that's just me, I guess. And the altitude hold's still working, by the way, so we still have altitude hold. And we'll probably get more go with it as well. Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, with GPS off, we're definitely getting more grunt with it. And that's in low rates. It's up in high rates. Oh yeah, that's much better. Not hugely different, I wouldn't say, actually. That altitude hold means you can't descend quickly. It's quite normal on altitude hold. So there's the kick out, whoa, and there's full off. So not really doing much. That's full off again, so you can see nice gentle descent, but if you wanted to get it out because you're in a panic situation, that ain't going to happen. There we go, and then we can turn the GPS back on, so it should just lock into position. Actually, let's just bring it down and put it somewhere where we can see it properly. There we go, so just got to put the GPS back on, there we go, and where I put the GPS back on, it sort of came back in. Now that would be deemed as toilet bowling when it sort of does that run around, but it's not really doing it, to be honest. It's just settling back in, so instantly comes back on GPS. I like that, that's really nice. And just out of interest, let's take the GPS off. I definitely need to trim it up a wee bit, but I'm not going to bother, to be honest. It's absolutely fine. I just wonder if I press the return to home, what happens? If it cuts the motors. Oh no, it just comes back. So that's good. So it turns the GPS on and then comes back home. So we're quite happy with that as well. Yep, it definitely likes that bush. That bush is, as far as it's concerned, home. There we go. So I'm going to bring it in, and I think I'm going to swap over to the FPV now. Really is slow on descent. Whoa! Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn the GPS off. I can fly much better in a tight area without that GPS. There we go. Yeah, not the best environment to bring it down. There's loads of weeds and things. So, okay. I'm going to stop and restart the video just in case we get any problems. And the GPS has gone back off again because I did that basically. I just lifted it up again. So I'm going to swap over to the goggles and see how we get on with those. Oh, we do have an auto takeoff, auto landing button here as well. So there we go, I've put that into GPS mode. I'm just going to have a go with the goggles, as I said. Oh, locking looks quite nice, isn't it? So I'm just going to have a little fly around. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really weird trying to walk forward when you're actually flying FPV. There we go. Ah, pretty smart. I'll just get into, I'll get over here out of camera shot. That's flying with the FPV and on the GPS as well. Yeah, nice stuff. I was expecting that to kick out a little bit earlier because I'm more used to not having altitude hold on or having a bit more responsive one than this one's got, but it's fine. So that's with GPS on. I'm going to flick the GPS off. Whoa! Well, that's that weird lurching stuff it does again. There we go, so that should be GPS off. Yeah, that's spitty. Well, for me, I quite like it. It seems a little bit better anyway. And again, really nice and smooth. And that altitude hold just takes a second to kick in, so the way. Yeah, that's fine. Does a good job, that. Yeah, very nice. I'll pop the GPS back on, see if we can do a pirouette in one place. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm going too fast, I know, but I could slow that down a lot more. There we go. It's going to rock around a bit because it's not got the gimbal on, but yeah, we could do it smooth if we wanted to. That's pretty good. Yeah, quite impressed with that. Certainly works fine. Oh, I'm getting midged if you wonder what I'm scratching for. Whoa, I wonder what that's all about. Just had a sudden lurch there. Right. Oh, I haven't pressed anything. Oh, I've got flashing LEDs, so that's rather good. So it obviously comes back to home when it's got flashing LEDs. Oh, I like that. Yeah, it's really good. Just bring that down so you can see that. That is smart, yeah. Yeah, it just literally lurched backwards on me, and then so it sort of did that tilt and then came back and look, just brought itself back in. So the only thing, there was no audio beep or anything, but I could easily put on here, I can easily put do another little splitter on it and put a little battery alarm. But if it could have come back home, I suppose that's just as good. So brilliant. Yeah, that was good fun. Okay, so I'm going to pop the quadcopter on and then pop on the transmitter. It stops that horrible beeping noise. You don't have to go up and down with the throttle, apparently. You can just pull it down and it binds, so that's good. And you don't have to wait for it to get a lock on GPS or anything. You can just start the motors and then just go off and fly, and you can either just put some throttle on, or you can press the auto takeoff. I think it auto lands as well. I don't think I've ever used that actually. I'm sure I would have done that in the other review. Check it out. And to stop the motors, you can either just bring it down and hold the throttle right off for a couple of seconds, or you can bring the sticks in. This stops and starts it, and it does the same with that one as well. So, and the auto takeoff, auto land only, well, I don't know about auto land, the auto takeoff only works after you've armed it. So if I press that, nothing happens. I have to arm it and then press it, and then off it goes. Whoops. So we've got GPS lock, so that's good. And to calibrate it, you pull the left stick bottom left and the right one top right. And you see, this is one of these issues I have with calibrating a GPS every time you go out and fly, because here I will struggle to get a good lock on 7 satellites. It needs 7 satellites to get the LEDs to go off, so I'm going to struggle to get that because of the high trees and everything we have around us. If you're in the middle of a city and you've got high buildings around, or any buildings around you, you could have the same problem again, because you're not going to pick up a good GPS signal. So if you then calibrate it for there, it could have a really terrible setup of calibration. So I'm against this thing of calibrating them every time we take them out. I know of some people with the Typhoon H's, and they calibrate them every time they go out. There's absolutely no need, and it takes ages. I want to go out and fly. I don't want to go out and blinking calibrate a compass every time I want to fly, or every time you change the location by a few miles. I mean, the flights I did today were miles away from the house, so yeah, just not my thing. I just don't understand the logic in it. There we go. So the LEDs have stopped flashing, and we're ready to calibrate. So I'm going to pop that down and left and up and right, and we get flashing LEDs like mad. And then it's simply a rotate 3 times. So that's once, and you do this slowly, 2, 3. You go end to end, so forward roll, 1, 2, 3, and then you actually do a roll this way, 1, 2, you've got the idea by now. 3. Pop it back down, and then the LED should stop flashing. And that's us all calibrated, so now we've calibrated it. So like I say, I'm not saying I'm going to do every time. Right, on with the summary. And the other thing about the calibration thing is, if I've got a gimbal on the bottom of here, they're not very happy when you keep rolling them over and everything. So yeah, again, enough on the calibration. I know, back off, digger. I'm actually going to unplug this because I don't need to run through anything else with it. In the manual it does give these out as surround and follow me, and none of those buttons work. And yeah, basically I've covered the transmitter when we were out, and there's loads of other information on my other video on it as well. So what did I think of it? Well, I was quite impressed with it. I love the return to home thing, and I love the fact that it just popped home when it was very low on battery, which I thought was rather good. If the battery starts to get low, apparently it won't let it fly over 30 meters away from you, and it won't go above 30 meters. So and then when the battery gets really low, it will automatically try and come back home and land. What I would use also, just as a sort of double fail-safe, is plug one of these in. These are little alarms. They're about £2, if less than that, and it will beep when it gets to a certain level, because sometimes you can't see the LEDs, and this thing's really loud, so you can hear it way away, which is quite good. Another good thing about it is, if you happen to drop the quad somewhere in the woods or something or other, this thing will beep when the battery gets nice and low, so you've sort of got an audio warning to sort of guide you in, sort of thing. These things are really loud, so that's good. And obviously you can power this anyway. You can power this from here. It just simply plugs into there like that, and like I say, it is loud. And I've done a whole video on this, so I'll put a link down in the description. And then you could just have a splitter if you wanted to power up your gimbal and everything else. That wouldn't be a problem. Or if you want, you can just use this plug here. It's just a normal, almost like a stereo plug, jack plugs, so you can plug it into there, and then you'd have to do a little bit of wiring, but it really wouldn't be that difficult. So all in all, yeah, I quite liked it. I like the GPS was okay. It flies much smoother with it off. I did feel it was like like the girl that you always fancied at school, and then you met her quite a few years later. You were going to meet up or something or other, and she's had a bit of cosmetic work done, and yeah, I'm not too sure it's actually, you know, money well invested, shall we say. I'm not sure they've actually improved it a lot. I actually really had a blast with the other one, and this one is different because it's got the GPS on it, but that's fine. It does a nice job of flying around. If you treat it gentle, she's absolutely fine. If you start hammering it left and right and centre and everything, it does that lurching thing, which I found quite nervous, because I fly quite close to me quite often, and I'll come straight at me and then bank away. I wasn't convinced this thing was actually going to stop or bank away quick enough for me anyway, but that's just the way I fly. And the same would happen over trees and such like, so that would be my nervous bit. They're really built solid, these. They're really quite cheap, I think, for what you pay for what you get. I think it's pretty good value for money. And you know, like I say, have a look at my other videos. I strapped loads of stuff on the other one, and this would do exactly the same. It's all virtually exactly the same stuff. They just slapped the GPS on it. So yeah, good fun. And yeah, if this is the sort of bird you're after, and it would make a great smooth camera bird if you wanted, with a gimbal on, certainly go and check out the other videos I did on it. Yeah, look at her go! Yay! Nice! Loving that recovery. I'm not sure it is. That's tight through there. We should be fine.